Hello everyone, and welcome to Melancholy Mentor, where classic literature meets the vibrant world of radio plays. I'm Fran, and I'm joined by Evan from Mystery Mythos. Together, we're your guides on this creative journey. During each episode, we'll dive into stories featured on the Melancholy Mentor channel, allowing fresh ideas to flourish, inspiring you to dream big and unlock your creative potential. Get comfy, open your mind, and embrace curiosity. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Fran.
And I'm Evan.
And today we're going to highlight another episode on the Melancholy Mentor YouTube channel. So the next episode that we're highlighting is called The Way Up to Heaven. And The Way Up to Heaven is a macabre short story by Roald Dahl. Now, have I pronounced that right, Evan?
I think it's right, yeah. Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. So the actual spelling of Roald Dahl's name is Roald and then Dahl. So Roald Dahl. It's an unusual name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Roald Dahl was a British author called one of the greatest storytellers. Think of children's literature, actually, of the 20th century.
Mm.
And he was born in 1916. Have a guess where he was born.
I think he was born in Wales. I think I relate him to
Oh,
Wales.
did you look that up?
No, I used to read I kind of used to read like quite a lot of his books. I like the
Did you?
twins stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read Roald Dahl when I was younger. I'll be honest with you. So
Mm.
when some of the children's book adaptations came out, I hadn't actually read the books.
Okay.
So you've got things like because did he do BFG and
BFG,
Big Friendly Giant?
Twins, The
Yeah,
Witches.
yeah,
I liked The Witches.
yeah, so
The-
much. Now,
I
I've seen
think
The
the
Witches.
twins
I just
like
never, yeah, I never read it.
yeah, I did.
So yeah, you're right. He was born in Cardiff. And he actually passed away in 1990, but he was aged 74. So, and that was in Oxford he passed away. Now, I
Okay.
looked this up. Apparently, he passed from a rare cancer of the blood.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'm not too sure about 1990. I still feel that even in 1990, that's relatively young as such,
Yeah.
74. So, yeah, he had a rare cancer of the blood.
Oh.
And another thing I found out about Roald Dahl is that he was actually in the Air Force. So he was a squadron leader. That's not easy to say. Squadron leader. Yeah, he was a squadron leader of number 80 squadron in the RAF.
Okay.
Um, and I think he actually was with the RAF during the Second World War. So I
Interesting.
don't actually know a lot more about that. But maybe some people listening do, and you'd like to comment on that if you're a Roald Dahl fan. We'd love that, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because a lot of this is just like we're putting together things on the channel that we actually enjoy and stories that we think other people will enjoy as radio plays. Um, we're not professing to be experts about either the recordings or the authors that originally wrote the stories and stuff like that. So we're just bringing to you highlights of things that we've got together and some facts that we've kind of found out.
Yeah,
So The Way Up to Heaven is a short story. So it's the short macabre. I love that word. Macabre story.
yeah.
And it was actually featured on Tales of the Unexpected, which is a British TV series. And the creator of the series was Roald Dahl, and it ran from 1979 until 1988.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, it's quite a long time. So I was, yeah, going into my teens then when that
Mm.
was on, because I actually remember Tales of the Unexpected when it first came around, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just never realised until more recently that it was actually created by Roald Dahl.
See, I knew. So I kind
Yeah,
of,
I didn't. Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't know. You've got another little fact about the this particular episode, haven't you?
Yeah. This was adapted. There was like an adaptation by Alfred Hitchcock. That was on his television show called Suspicion in 1957. So yeah, so like the original story was like published in 1954. That was in the New Yorker. And then obviously then after that it was adapted by Alfred Hitchcock. So that's pretty cool.
That would have been, so if that was aired on TV, that would probably have been in black and white, wouldn't it, rather than
Yeah,
colour.
I would have thought so in
What
1957.
was the other show that Alfred Hitchcock done? Because I wondered whether it was that. And it's
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
that's it. Now I've
Another one.
seen some of those when they've kind of re-aired those on TV. I've seen some of those,
Yeah,
but I didn't actually know that he'd featured this story.
yeah.
So thank you for that. So obviously said already, the creator of Tales of the Unexpected is Roald Dahl, famous author, famous for children's books and adult fiction. Um, the stories featured on Tales of the Unexpected, which was, the TV show, were stories with a twist ending,
Mhm.
which I
Yeah,
love. So these are
yeah.
short stories, aren't they? And I think maybe they were like half an hour episodes.
Yeah, I think it was up to like half an hour. I think they were just done like quite short.
Yeah.
So
But I'm quite invested in the story because it really does grip you quite early on and take you through a story. And then with those twist endings, I just find it quite fascinating. And
yeah,
Tales of the Unexpected itself was put together as an anthology series. So each episode features a different story,
mhm.
which I like as well. So it was
Yeah,
kind
me
of under the
too.
same theme and the same kind of theme music and the same kind of short stories with a twist. But you've got different characters and a different story each time.
Yeah,
So, which I like. So there's trademark twists apparently often left the viewers shocked.
yeah, yeah. Which
Shocked.
I like that. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that suspense and then shock ending.
Exactly, the
Yeah,
suspense. That's it.
yeah,
That's the word I was trying to get to. The suspense of the
yeah,
story. So you're kind of hanging on the suspense of it, and then there's this
yeah.
little shocker of an ending.
Mm,
And the themes covered in the short stories were often of greed, revenge, um, that darker side of human nature,
yeah,
and it kind of explored that. So it's like a real look into how people behave in different situations or under different circumstances. So the way up to heaven demonstrates this beautifully, I think. 'Cause it's a short story about a wealthy married couple, Mr. and Mrs. Foster. So, and I didn't actually know about this story until we featured it on the Melancholy Mentor channel. But I wasn't aware of this one. Though I do wonder whether or not I've seen the episode and not actually realised.
Yeah, maybe you could
It
often.
seems to kind of have some familiarity in my mind. So I wonder whether I've actually seen it as part of Tales of the Unexpected TV series.
Mm,
Um, so Mrs. Foster, I like this a lot. Mrs. Foster suspects her husband of exacerbating, now there's a word, purposefully exacerbating her pathological fear of tardiness.
yeah,
So that's quite a thing, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
So tardiness is in being late.
Mm,
Um, and with all phobias as such, they've got names, haven't they? So I actually looked this up. So again, anybody listening can correct me if it's not correct. But it's to try and read it. It's allegoraphobia.
okay.
So I don't know whether that's actually true because I don't know. I just know that a lot of all phobias have got a name and they're quite often quite long sort of names, aren't they?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
apparently there's like the fear of being late. And the way it's presented in this story is the pathological fear of tardiness. So just for the added dramatic effect, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so Mrs. Foster is preparing for a 6-week trip to Paris by herself. I think it's something to do with going to see her daughter or grandchildren or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so what can the twist be? So she's got a husband who she's suspecting of like ramping up her fear. She's
Um,
preparing for a trip and her fear is lateness. So
Yeah.
obviously she's going to want to be on time. She's going to want to leave on time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a twist in there somewhere. You'll have to listen to the episode to find out what the twist is.
I love that.
I do. You've
Yeah.
listened to it already.
Yeah, no, but it makes me want to listen to it again.
I know, I know. And I'll
Then,
tell you why there's an added reason to listen to it. It's actually narrated. The episode that we've got is a radio play, and it's narrated by Patricia Rutledge or
yeah,
Routledge. I pronounce it Rutledge. How would you say it?
I could call her Routledge.
Routledge. Yeah,
Yeah.
Patricia Routledge. So her actual name, because I looked her up, I think she's a spectacular actress.
Amazing.
Amazing actress,
I
yeah,
love it.
amazing.
Mm,
And her actual name comes up as Dame Catherine Patricia Routledge.
cool.
It's very impressive.
Mm, yeah,
She's an English actress and singer, absolutely stupendous talent,
very
uh,
talented.
very talented. And
Mm,
so I think she's been in a lot of plays and like her body of work is extensive, and she's
yeah.
got an incredibly distinctive voice.
Hmm.
So her narration of this story is just perfection.
Would be perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's perfection. That's
mm,
why I like listening to it. So her voice, she's so the way she kind of uses her expressions and the tone of her voice, it's just so listenable. Um, and I first encountered her as an actress in a TV series. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah, TV series which run, I believe it run from 1990 to 95, kind of
Mm.
like early 90s. So I wasn't really aware of her works until then. And what TV series am I referencing, Evan?
Um, it's oh God, it's gone. It's gone. And
You're a fan of this show.
I know.
Shall I remind you?
It's Mrs. Bouquet.
It's Mrs. Bouquet. I know it's Mrs.
So
Bouquet.
that's what I've got in my head. I've got the whole thing on Onslow and everything, and then the
Yeah,
name's gone.
the characters of the show.
It's got the
Yeah,
character
it's keeping up
keeping
appearances.
up appearances. That's it. It went. I had it, and then it went.
Yeah, so a lot of people listening, will recognise her voice, and
She's
I'm
very
sure
funny.
they've been fans of the British TV show Keeping Up Appearances, which
Yeah,
was so funny.
very funny.
Her comedic timing is perfect.
Yeah,
Voice is amazing. She's just like that's why I love her voiceover work and her kind of voice acting. It's just incredible. And of
yeah.
course, Mrs. Bouquet was actually Mrs. Bucket.
And it's just so funny.
I know,
And
ever so
just
funny.
her poor husband.
Her poor husband. I know. I think there was some very deep love there though. So
Yeah, Richard. I mean, he loves her, so he's just
yeah,
running
in
around
the
after her
show.
all the time.
Yeah, very much so. So it's actually Patricia Routledge who narrates the story that we've got on the Melancholy Mental channel, which is The Way Up to Heaven, a story about Mrs. Foster and her husband, who she thinks is exacerbating her pathological fear of tardiness. And
Mm,
the whole thing is wonderfully narrated, and very, very worth a listen.
mhm.
Okay, and
Yeah.
we're going to go. So hopefully that's kind of inspired you to look these people up, look the short stories up and the references there. If you know any more facts about what we've referenced during today's episode, then please join in and let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
go and take a listen to it on our channel.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.